Hello, myself. This is basically the advanced number part. A basically. In this one of the person told that we don't have this type of all data basically, which say that basically this all basically items basically are connected with these all conditions. Why? Because we don't know basically. That's why basically. And I am telling you basically, assume that basically Vadodara city basically have one pool that might be connecting to hundreds of cities that also across the world basically. So that's very dangerous, very dangerous. Assume that basically Myanmar basically got one earthquake, right? Magnitude was basically I think more than 8. So that basically might have damaged many objects basically in India also. Why? Because from Myanmar energy basically lots of pools are created basically. You will not able to believe it basically. I am just taking example basically. It can be commercial building also. So whenever basically the Myanmar power basically is going to be taken, and assume that basically the earthquake basically happened that damaged many areas basically which was actually using the power supply. So power supply taken from that area and basically passed to the many cities. In that many city basically lots of got stuff damaged. Why? Because the power supply which was coming basically that was from Myanmar basically. So that got damaged basically. So due to that damage basically the people basically was not able to track it basically. Okay, they basically immediately repair that damage basically. But in real basically the real world basically is like this. You have to first repair Myanmar, or basically you can do one more thing basically. Myanmar basically is going to create from set of energy. So in advance basically collect that energy and basically prepare the materials and just repair the whatever stuff basically got damaged. But here the changes basically happens, then basically it's very huge problem basically. So that's why basically the communication basically in this system basically, that is the city creation IIS group basically, that is most important basically. Most important means very as in that basically they used that energy for the broken commercial complex or something. But when Myanmar basically got created newly, that time basically their mind got changed basically, and that was not documented basically. That this type of stuff basically was done basically. So here basically the project management plans comes into the picture. Here basically the project management plans comes into the picture, and in that plan basically you can directly mention no, basically this was the plan and this is the plan basically. In that plan basically you have to create the Myanmar like this, so that this basically is equal to that repaired material basically, that this is equal to that repaired material. So one of the percent of this type of activity basically might not have happened in the entire life, because this is the most systematic way basically. This is the most systematic way basically the creation has happened. Mostly basically UAE basically is created on the base of systematic only basically. UAE is created on the base of systematic only basically. Otherwise basically it's very difficult to handle the stuff basically. You can't handle the stuff basically. Why? Because each and every cities basically nowadays are getting converted into smart city, and that smart cities are equal to set of human needs basically. So that's very dangerous basically. I am telling you very dangerous. Nowadays world basically has reached to very dangerous level basically. Because any of the stuff basically will stop basically, or basically will create problem, then all are going to affect basically. All basically all. Because the creation has done like this only. That's why. So one of the person told that um, like this basically each and every materials basically are getting used basically. But that basically is there have. So one of the person told that as in that basically that we collected and we dumped into some database. So that will also not work. Basically, you have to dump into some paper, or basically you have to somewhere you have to write, and you have to prepare some system basically for specially basically you have to create some server so that this type of data basically can be entered. Because in IT industry basically one variable, just see basically one variable basically have connection with thousands of ten thousands of cities basically, then how connection would be of that particular data basically. So that's very dangerous basically. So you have to plan very perfectly basically, then only basically you can. For that basically you require lots of money basically. For that basically we have to pick the businessmen basically, and businessmen are businessmen basically. Without profit they basically will not invest basically. For that you have to show them the profit basically, and profit means you have to give them profit, otherwise basically you will know what actually the businessmen are basically. That basically Americans group basically know that basically what are the businessmen and everything basically, but they have the power, so they basically control the businessmen also basically. So that's basically not our topic, but this is all fact basically. So here one of the person told that Americans basically don't have any control with them basically, right? Then also basically they are very powerful. Microsoft basically don't have a single control with him basically. Even basically the data basically which he dumps into the his database, that is collected from the IITs and IIM group basically, and the Oxford and Harvard group basically. That control also basically he don't have. Then one of the person told that Microsoft basically have what basically? He have thousand cities, right? Basically, thousand cities as you basically he created, but that basically is the government property. Cities basically you can't create, you can't have the city basically private cities with you basically. That all are the government properties. So one of the person told that that is also very dangerous stuff. That is also basically very dangerous stuff basically. So one of the person told that like this basically assume that basically we collected all items of the India basically, all items of the India, and from India basically all items like 1 lakh pool, 10 lakh commercial complex, 10 lakh buildings, 5 lakh lake, water lake. Like this basically we collected the data, and after collecting the data basically we return that data into one paper basically, and started segregating. This data is connecting to this condition, this data is connecting to that condition, that data is connecting to that condition, this data is connecting to that condition, this that each and every stuff basically we started segregating basically. Started segregating. So one of the person told that like this basically stuff basically are ongoing basically. But in one of the person told that is it possible basically to collect this stuff of information and create the system basically, and if we will create the system basically and we will dump this data into software basically somewhere in some database, that might not create problem basically. That also basically you have to check, but directly basically don't enter data into the software basically, write down in the paper basically somewhere, and then only basically create the system, because this variable basically itself basically say that basically there are 10,000 cities connection basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.